Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the market close. Well, we're here, the end of the week, the end of week one of a war nobody asked for. A war nobody asked for, but a war that we're getting nonetheless. Holy banana bread. Oh, guys, what a week. And of course, we have a pretty epic red day going at the same time. And gosh, it's like I should just tune in the red on my sign and just remove the knob. I don't need it any. Well, it's not. It's really not a knob. It's not a knob. So, nonetheless, a red day, another day of turmoil, more stuff going on in the war. Some of the bigger highlights. Trump said that the only conditions he has for a end to the war is an unconditional surrender. So I don't see Iran doing that. This is looking messier. Trump also today dropped a nice nugget. He said Cuba's next. So holy banana bread. This is going to be a fun. This is going to be a fun year. 2026 might make us miss the good old days of 2020. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, let's let's start with something a little bit different. Let's talk a tiny bit about Blossom. All right, we're just going to jump over here. Oh, I should bring up Blossom. All right, let me just go to the home page. So Blossom, guys, this, of course, and you guys know I've been talking about Blossom for a while. This is a social media app that is for investors. I like it. I need to use it more. I do know that. But right now, there's a little bit of an ambassador contest going on. So I guess it's their version of March Madness. So they've put us into different districts. So I'm in a district with all the little people. When I say little people, I'm talking about, the smaller channel district. And guys, I've got 10,000 subs. I should not be in 10th place in my district. I should be in first. And here's the difference. In 10th place, I've had one person sign up on Blossom. That's how they're doing it. It's basically however many people download the app, those are your points. So I've got one. First place has 6. So I looked at that today and I'm like, oh, you know what? These guys can do it. So first of all, I'm going to drop that link in here right now. So Blossom, here we go. So yeah, basically, all you got to do is just download the app. You don't have to hook up your portfolio. That is completely optional. I don't have mine hooked up. The portfolio that's on there right now, that is the 0 to 100K, and I manually input that. I couldn't hook it up even if I wanted to because they don't have an API call for National Bank. So, guys, connect with me over there on Blossom. Download the app, hook it up. Follow me because like I said, when I go looking to see what you guys are doing on Blossom, I go through this. This is my friend notification. And oh, look, I got a new follow here from Lucas. Hey, Lucas. So there we go. I will go through here and that's where I will, I'll see what you guys are doing. And if I see one of you guys, especially one of you who are really active in chat, I'm going to totally jump on it and maybe throw a comment or two your way. So definitely Blossom, head on over. Let's see if we can take our district. Let's take control. I don't like being in 10th place. I want to be closer to the top. I actually think with this community, I think we can win it. So I'll talk a little more about this later. Let's actually, first of all, my head's in the middle. Let's move up. Whoops. Oh no, my head's in the middle here too. Okay, that's why. I had reconfigured it so that I had my head in the middle on one of my screens, and it went and put it on both. But there we go. Now it's fixed. Let's go to the chart. Let's just jump on over here to the TSX, and yeah, look at this. Not a great day. We are currently down 1.46%. Obviously, the war certainly is still impacting things. There's whispers now of inflation, of war inflation, particularly with oil, right? Today, I think oil is pretty much the only thing that's up. And this is going to start impacting Canadians sooner than later. In fact, the people who are going to get hit first are people at the pumps. So your price of gas, expect that to go up sooner than later. And groceries. Like, we don't need groceries to go up any higher. But obviously, a lot of groceries are perishable. So these are, like you take, for example, fruits, vegetables, things like that, the meat. That's coming back and forth to grocery stores quite a bit. So what we're going to see in that is, well, the cost of getting them to the stores is going to go up. And that cost will, of course, be passed on to all of us. So we could see that starting to happen. Now, I don't think this will happen right away, but if we get a big surge of war inflation, the Bank of Canada, they might, oh God, I hate to say this. I do not even want to say this, but they might start thinking about raising rates. I don't want to say it. I didn't want to say that, guys. So that's just something to keep in mind. But all right, focusing back on the TSX, March is turning into a cluster, and then insert another word there. You know the word. I'm not saying the word, but insert that word. It's not a good month. We've been on a very deep downslide. In fact, all of the recovery after that initial big giant red candle, that's all gone. We're actually below that now. So we recovered and we have slid deeply back into the red. So lots of buy the dip opportunities out there, and I think we're going to see more. I think we will see more. I'm not a doom and gloomer, but I am a realist. And right now, there's a lot of fear out there. People don't know what's going on. I've seen lots of interesting things on the internet in the last little while. I take it all with a grain of salt because some of it's pretty darn scary. I'll tell you guys later about some of it, but not right now. So yeah, we're well below the blue line in a deep, deep red month thus far. The S&P 500, pretty much the same story. Pretty much the same story. Nice deep in the red. They're down 1.46% today. The NASDAQ also down 1.3. And look at this. They were so close. They were so close to turning things around. In fact, they even breached above the blue line briefly. That was, well, the end of the day yesterday. The end of the day yesterday, and we didn't even peek back in. We missed it. They finished in the green yesterday, and then they've fallen back down. So not so great. The Dow Jones Industrial also going down. A lot of those industrial stocks very much impacted by the price of oil. And probably the worst performer today, the Russell. The little caps are feeling it. And they're plunging deep. Now, there is, I did say that oil is pretty much, commodities actually did do okay today. So if we look at gold up 1.34, silver up 1.79, copper up just a tiny bit, platinum up a little bit too. But the big up today is oil. WTI right here, up 13.94%. So that's the thing. You got to look at, when you look at the Strait of Hormuz, you might think, okay, well, Iran only, what is it? 4% of the world's oil comes from Iran. How much can that really impact prices? Well, the problem is all of those countries in there, need to ship their oil through that strait, and Iran is pretty much burning boats that try to go through it. So a lot of tankers, a lot of oil companies who have tankers have grounded their tankers. They're anchored. They're not coming through that strait. They're not going to take that chance. So that could end up being closer to, I would say, maybe close to a fifth of the world's oil actually travels through there. So that's a lot. So that's what, 20%? And that's definitely impacting the price of oil. Oil is going up. You will see OPEC countries that are not going through the Strait of Hormuz you'll probably see some production increases coming from them, and that may not be a bad thing. That may not be a bad thing. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Crypto not having a good day. Crypto definitely not responding well today. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum down just over 4%. All right, oh boy, let's look at our heat map for the day. I didn't refresh this before the show, so I'm just going to refresh this right now just to make sure. Yeah, it refreshed itself. Pretty much a sea of red, except for a few things. A few little nuggets of goodness in here. And that would be Constellation Software. Look at that. Up 5.60%. Yeah, router's also up 1.32. And I noticed this down in here. Nutrien. Look at Nutrien up 2.30% today. Interestingly enough, I find this very interesting. So half of the oil companies are responding to this price hike in a good way, like CNQ up 1.95, Torlamine up 2.8%. But look at this, Suncor down 1.78, Imperial Oil down 0.85, Cenovus down 1.96. So it's kind of like oil doesn't know whether to be happy or not that the price of oil is going up. So hopefully we see a little bit of turnaround here. Our railroads, oh gosh, they're definitely not having a great day. Look at this, CNR down 2.53, CP down 3.22. All right, let's head south of the border. And I'm going to just refresh this one too. I think it's right, but I'll refresh it nonetheless. Pretty much red across the board. Tech certainly having some red in there. You got NVIDIA down 3%, Apple down 1.23%. Google down 0.89, Meta down, Tesla down. Now our little, I've been calling these our tiny defensive health sector section. Eli Lilly is up 0.38 and Johnson & Johnson up 0.26. But it looks like from gold, I think a lot more people are moving into materials today than Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson. But we are getting some movement because they are both up. And yeah, crypto, what a mess. Very, very red. Let's find our crap coin of the day, guys. Let's find some crappy coin for a crappy day on the market. No, everything is red. Let's grab something in the green. Let's grab this. I don't know what we got. I have no clue what this is. Let's take a look. Katana. It's Katana. So, if you're into ninja coins, maybe this is the one for you. Actually, I don't even know if that's the correct spelling for katana, for the weapon katana, but nonetheless, this coin is worth 0.91 of a penny. And, if you want to sneak in the night like a ninja, maybe you can walk out with this coin. Unfortunately, there's better ninjas who are probably going to beat you up when you get outside and take your money. This is just, to me, I don't know. It's a crap coin. And the reason I call them crap coins is that they're like going to Vegas, playing on that craps table, throwing the dice, coming up with the numbers you don't want and losing your money. So be careful of these things. Be sure to read the white paper if you can find it. Ninjas are sometimes very, they hide stuff. But read your white paper, check out the developers if you can find them on social media, all that fun stuff. Honestly, I would stick to the big coins. Stick away. Don't get cut by a katana. Instead, if you're going to invest, and today's probably not a bad entry point, we got our Bitcoins, Ethereums, XRP, Solana, Cardano, and gosh darn it, even the Doge coin. We got the Doge coin. All right, let's put ourselves back on the TSX. There they are in all of their down red glory. It's like they're doing yoga, the downward dog. I don't know. All right. And let's go big for a moment and let's hit the chat. Oh gosh, you guys are definitely active in here. We will start with Jonathan. Am I late for a CSU recovery? No. And like I said, it's pretty cool. Like quite literally. All right, let's go back again. Let's go back again. Um, CSU has just been absolutely doing really well lately. So here, let's pull up CSU Constellation Software. And that's the 5-day trend, but we'll go to the year. And you can see we're seeing, now, is it just a recovery from here? That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, because you know how I talk about when it's going up, how sometimes it's nice to sort of chart a line. If you chart a line at this decline, they're just above where they would have been if we didn't have this big crater here. So I kind of, right now, I want to see a little bit more. I would be very happy if they broke above 3,000. I'd be a lot more happy if they broke above 3,355. But we'll see how things turn around. Hopefully they continue. Hopefully they continue to do well. Yeah, all right, let's go back there and let's go back to big screen. Lance is in the house with a good afternoon, everyone. And Niece is in the house. A good evening to you all. Hey, Niece, how are you tonight? Question, Niece. I have a question for you. So obviously in North America, we got this time change that happens every year. I don't actually know if it happens outside of North America. So do you guys, and I know you're in Sweden, and I assume if it happens in Sweden, it probably is all of Scandinavia. But do you guys actually do time change? I'm curious. Do you guys change your time every March and what is it, October or November? Do you guys do that? Or is that just a North American thing? I honestly don't know. If you don't answer me, I'll probably get really curious and hit Google up later. But I figured let's find out. Stan says good afternoon. Samantha's in the house with a hello, everyone. Abby says good afternoon, all. What color is redder than red? Deep red? Fiery red? Yeah, the red. I don't know. Lance, any predictions for the market next week? Yes, volatile. There we go. I think we'll see some green next week. I actually do think we will see some green. I don't know if it'll be Monday. It may not be Tuesday, but I think by midweek, I think at that point, I think investors will finally sort of stop panicking, and that we'll get a little bit used to the new reality of the Iran war. Unless something absolutely crazy happens, I think we'll see a red Monday, at a kind of a flat Tuesday, sort of red in the morning, maybe green in the afternoon, and then we might just get a couple of green days together. Friday could be a coin flip, though. That's the thing. Friday could be a coin flip, but I think maybe Wednesday and Thursday we might get some green days. But we'll see. Hey, well, we're all going to be here together. So, Brian says, good afternoon, everyone. Let's see, 49 more Trump dips still to come. 49, is that all? I thought it was 53 personally, but maybe you're right. Zenio, when does the stock market stop being a scam? I don't know. There's always going to be scams on the market. You got penny stocks, but it's not so much that it's a scam. It's just the whole thing is all about emotion. Because, when you look at a stock price, that stock price is basically how much people are willing to pay. So depending on fear, depending on greed, that price moves. And that's all usually about the psychology of investors. Now, this is the interesting part. So you're saying that if you're going to call that a scam, and let's call it a scam. Let's just say, oh, that's so scammy. It's people's emotions. How can you make any heads and tails of it? Well, one, people's emotions are fairly predictable, but let's step outside of that. As more and more AI starts taking over institutional investing, and once we get to the stage, we're not there yet, but within a few years, a lot of retail investments will probably have an AI agent that might even do their investing for them. So once we get to that point where there's very few people actually investing anymore, it's mostly agents, AI, That could very well remove a lot of that emotion, and then the market becomes less of a place of speculation, more of a straight up fair value. This is the fair value of everything type thing. So that could be where we end up. But I mean, it's still a great question, and it's going to be really fun to watch as this changes. I will tell you this much, people who are day traders, their days are numbered. Their days are absolutely numbered. Like day trading, I don't think you're going to be able to beat AI when it comes to day trading. So I would say just regular. I think swing trading is fine. I think swing trading will last for a long time, but I think actual day trading itself will probably take a lot longer. Will probably take a lot longer for sure. Paul says, good afternoon. Put in a message to Blossom Help, asked if Blossom supports RRIFs. They said no, the RRIF will still be in Blossom, but you just cannot isolate it. Yeah. I hope, I mean, and keep in mind, and this is one thing to keep in mind with Blossom, guys, is that it's new. It's only about 4 years old, and they have made, even from now, from then to now, they've made a lot of changes, and there's going to be more and more features that are going to get moved in and rolled in. A lot of it is more or less, the developers only have so much time in the day. So I will say, I can't say with certainty. I actually need to take a, I need to find some of the stuff that they're working on now, because every so often they do publish all of the things that they're looking for, sort of like a roadmap into the future. I would like to take a look at that, because then I could probably give you a better idea of what's going on with that. Brian says, I spread some dividend money around to C-Day and MSTE. And oh, guys, did you guys notice those March 6 dividends, at least on Wealthsimple, they dropped today. I know, because I got an MSTE. I got my MSTE. I got a whole $1.50 added to Wealthsimple for the 10 MSTE I have there. So I did set that up on a reoccurring, so it's just going to rebuy MSTE. So that's all on a drip. So I will now have 10.001 or something, whatever it turns out to be. Oh, actually, $1.50, that's actually a lot more than 0.1, because they're only, what, 3.50 maybe, or less? I don't know. All right, yeah, and there's the connect with me on Blossom. Let's see. Oh, boy. Hello, everyone, says Dorpat, and Lisa says, hi, everyone. Dorpat, are you still keeping cash for crash or recession? Well, gosh, recession could be in. This is the really interesting thing. Obviously, it's gonna be interesting. Right now, it's so hard to call. Like, I know before this war came, I didn't think we would see a recession this year, and I still don't think we're gonna see one in Canada. But, dear gosh, depending on how this war unwinds, there could be some really interesting ramifications in the United States. They had, and here, guys, let me pull this up here. Actually, I'll go to this one here. All right, guys, I want to show you guys something that dropped here today. And reports U.S. calendar. Here we go. All right. Friday, March 13th. That's not today. Today's the 6th. All right, where is, I think it's all the way down at the bottom here. Yeah, so the employment report dropped in the United States today. They were expecting to add 50,000 new jobs. Well, they did not add 50,000 new jobs. They lost 92,000 jobs. And keep in mind, last month, so now this here is the report for February. So last month in January, they actually added 126,000 jobs. But yeah, they lost 92,000 jobs. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Unemployment still stayed steady at 4.4%. But this is kind of that headline, that 92,000 jobs lost. So yikes. That's not good. That's not good for the economy. It's also going to make things really interesting for the Fed when it comes to rate cuts, because there's a lot going on there. I don't think they can. I don't think they're going to be able to lower. If Donald Trump is hoping his new guy Kevin is going to lower rates, I don't think he can. Not in light of stuff like this. Oh boy. All right, Paul says, too late to buy ENCL or oily ETFs. Have they already gone up too much? I haven't actually looked at ENCL. Let me just take a look here. All right, ENCL, here we go. And interestingly enough, ENCL is actually down today. So ENCL is currently down 0.472. And this is something, and I got a question yesterday, and I still need to look into it. I didn't get a chance to. But our Canadian oil sector right now does not seem to be reflecting the fact that the price of oil is exploding. C&Q, yeah, we're seeing some movement there. We're seeing C&Q seems to be moving in the right direction, but half of our oil stocks are falling. So I don't know. There's been some earnings. So obviously we looked yesterday at Torlamine, and they didn't do great on earnings. So it might be that we've got a bit of oil earnings sort of muddying up the water a bit, but I'm going to be watching the Canadian oil sector next week really, really closely, because even XEG should be, I was hoping that would be up a lot more than where we're at right now. And in fact, here, I think I added it to my swing list. Let's go to swings. And yeah, here it is, XEG. So XEG, and like we've been talking right now, because they've been in this ascending channel. And look at this, they're threatening to break down. Now, yeah, normally in an ascending channel, a breakdown can be likely, but with the price of oil, what it's doing, they should be up about here. They should be probably about here. They should be up around 24.47 or so. So, and I think a lot of it is just that we're seeing so many Canadian oil companies, and that's what this is holding. It's holding a lot of those companies that are going down. So it is pulling it down a little bit. So this will be Monday. This will be one of the key things I'm going to be watching going into next week. Navi says we might go into stagflation if the war lasts longer. That's a possibility. That is a possibility. I actually think it's more of a possibility for the U.S. Than Canada. But obviously, if the U.S. completely tanks, it's certainly going to impact Canada. Right now, at least we got potential deals piling up as Carney's on his little deal tour. But I hope some real stuff comes out of this, because Brian, rumors are starting that we may not have an interest rate cut, but actually an increase instead, just as I was typing it. Yeah, there is absolutely, there's rumors about that. And it's simply because, well, if inflation starts getting crazy, they might have to do it. I hope that they don't. I didn't even want to say it, Brian. I didn't even want to say it. But yeah, it is a possibility, unfortunately. Oh, guys, we have 1 minute to the bell. I'm hoping, like, I don't think we're going to see any more rate cuts this year. And I've already said that. That was before the war. So now I'm just hoping that we can keep our interest rate where we're at. Leave us alone, Tiff. Just back off, Tiff. That's what I'm hoping for. Good Friday, y'all, says Rendu. And in fact, Good Friday is coming up. That is, I think it's in April. I think it's in April this year. I don't know exactly the date, but, it's coming. Oh, so good. All right, guys, I'm just getting my hand here on the bell. I know we got a superstar comment up next, but I don't want to get interrupted with the bell in the middle of that comment. So we're going to hold steady here for a moment, hopefully like the rates. And guys, the market's closed. Holy banana bread. Welcome to the weekend. What craziness can we have this weekend? Surely Donald Trump has done all of his craziness already, but we'll see. All right. And our superstar comment is, of course, from Mary, our official captain of the like button. So if you have not yet hit that like button, oh boy, now's the time to do it. I'm going to refresh it over here on the test screen. We'll see how many likes we got. Let's see here. 29? My gosh, guys. Are you being a little stingy with the likes today? Let's just get that to 50, guys. Let's get that to 50. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. Let's just move that to 50. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But, oh, I do get to have some coffee while you guys are doing that. Oh, so very good. Very, very, very good. All right. Whew. And thank you, Mary, for all that you do. I always want to make sure you know I'm appreciative of your role as captain of the like button. Paul says, glad my mortgage switch is locked in for 3.94% 5-year fixed, just in case yields on 5-year government bonds go up. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have certainty. Sometimes when the world is going crazy, it is not bad to have some certainty. Duarpat says, is Trump doing all of these to distract people from the Epstein files? How does he intend to win midterms? Or he doesn't care about that anymore? Even MAGA is divided now. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. I watched a video last night, Andre Zik. You know, you guys know who I'm talking about, Zik. He had a really interesting thing. Now, I don't have the source that he got this from, but he threw something at us that was really, really interesting. And, excuse me, and I was like, dear God, I hope that wasn't the case. But I'll tell you guys what he said. He said that Israel had decided that they were going to attack Iran, and we're going back to the initial attack, that short little one, that what was it, that one where they went in for, and bombed all of the nuclear sites. So apparently, according to whoever Andre Zik's source is, apparently there was talk that Israel was thinking about using nukes on them. and they said that they said they didn't have the firepower to do it, but if the U.S. could come in and use conventional firepower, then they wouldn't have to. And kind of like that's how they sort of twisted Trump's arm at that point. Now, take that with a massive, massive grain of salt. Massive. Because I don't have I've got no way to confirm that. As far as I'm concerned, that's probably a straight up rumor, and it's probably not true, but I did hear it. And that's the type of things that we're starting to hear. I've heard, actually, I would actually put more credence in Dorpat right now, and the idea that, this is distracting people from the Epstein files. But at the same time, some of those Epstein files that disappeared are apparently now reappearing. So I don't know if this is because of the fracture in MAGA or what's going on. But this whole thing is, I think it's messy as can be. And I think it's going to continue to be messy. And I don't know what the real reason is. I don't know if we'll ever find out what the real reason and motivation. But most of the reasons that have been given by the current administration as to why they're doing it, most of them, when you fact check them, fail. They fall completely flat. Trump was saying, oh, he was going to hit me. He was going to hit us. So I had to strike because they were going to strike us. There's no proof of that. There's absolutely nothing. I mean, yeah, I think he also said it was a feeling. Well, you don't go to war based on a feeling. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's so much craziness in all of this that I think people will be looking. I think the next couple of generations, when they look back on this time in history, are going to look at it and go, and they're just going to say, a WTF. That's all they're going to say about that. This is crazy. It is craziness, and I hope we can somehow get out of this sooner than later, but I'm not optimistic. I'm not, and I'm an optimist. It's hard for an optimist to say I'm not optimistic on this, but that's my realism side coming through. Paul says the only thing up for today for myself is Palantir. Boy, plus 3.5%, and the enhanced Palantir ETF up 2.5%. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Isaiah, Wealthsimple paid out all of the dividends this morning, was able to buy lots of sales to be had. So yeah, and I know Ian was looking forward to these as well. So hopefully, Ian, you got your I don't know if you're here, you got your dividends all today, and you got to do a little bit of shopping. Let's see. Paul says my Palantir is up 20% since February 13th. Too bad it's only 8 shares of that CDR. You gotta hate it when something flies and you've only got a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of it. But that does happen. Brian, my phone won't stop buzzing from all the dividends today on Wealthsimple. That's a problem that most people want. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. Wah, hippo. Well, here again, wind alarms are going off, so stuck in the shop. Wind alarms. Oh, okay. All right, so it's too windy to work. Outside, at least. And yeah, we got the Financial Express. It is on for Monday. So guys, if you want a front row, I was going to say street, but seat. If you want a front row seat to the madness that could be Monday, you'll have that opportunity to add that show today. We still have a show on Sunday, nonetheless. Wahipple. This weekend, the last time for us, we going to be on daylight savings time permanently. Yes, BC is no longer doing the time changes. They are sticking to daylight savings time. I hope that gets contagious because I would love that. Nee says, yes, we have time change, but it's up for discussion. There we go. So in other words, Sweden is as annoyed as most of us are at time changes. I'm thinking. Hopefully it works out well. Let's see. Quest Trade waiting for Monday for harvest distributions. Huge Melio says, good afternoon, ladies. And Wahippo, I got mine in on Monday and got CPCC eyed up for the next top up. QQCL dividends came in today. Nice. And let's see. Sid says, my Blossom account is not refreshing my recent purchases. Has anyone else experienced it? I've never run into any problems. What I would say is, first of all, it depends on how are you accessing it, Sid. Are you going through the app or are you doing it through the desktop? I would check on both, quite honestly. Like if it's not updating on the app and then you go on the desktop and everything is updated there, then you probably want to uninstall and reinstall the app. It could be something, maybe something's corrupt on the app. That might be the way to do it. All right, Hughie Melio, I bought some Air Canada today, $17, not a bad entry. Well, I hope. No, that's a fantastic entry. So, keep in mind, it's a longer term trade because obviously the airlines, they're probably going to be down until this is over. So, yeah, I would say, but look, actually here, I got it right here. So, yeah, I mean, Air Canada, right down here. There we go. I hit snooze instead of stop. Now I hit stop this time. 1765. That's a fantastic spot to get in. The only thing I would say is if you got in already up in here, don't worry about it. I think you just won't make as much as somebody who got in down here, or you could always average down a little bit. But keep in mind that you are committing that money to, well, probably a month, maybe a little bit longer if this war continues. And Bert, hey Bert, I saw your comment just as I had hit the end stream button yesterday, but you saw my reply. I got in quickly. So let's see. Bert says I DCA down everywhere today. MSTE, HYLD, C Day, S Day, Q Day, BMAX, C, LSA, Biggie, and HHIS. Nice. A lot of dip buying. There's more dips. There's more dips in this comment than a Nova Scotia road has potholes in the spring. Now, if any of you have not been to Nova Scotia, it's really bad. And I'm not even in Nova Scotia anymore, but I have fond memories of potholes. Wahipple, yes, Sid, I have had Blossom do that to me. Just wait and look tomorrow. There we go. Or you could, or you could try uninstalling and reinstalling the app. I mean, I don't know if it's the app that's doing it. That's why I'd be curious to see if you look at if you compare it to the desktop, because there is the desktop version, and see if that is any different. Luke says, sold my ENCL yesterday to average down on some of my other core holdings. Okay, fair enough. Pay's been bucking the current. Peyton, let's take a look. All right, here we go. There we go. A Payto exploration and development. And yeah, look at them. They're up 2.296% today. So yeah, they're doing fantastic. They've been on a pretty good haul to the upside for sure. Luke says, really thinking about buying some CPCC. It might be early, but copper is a winner long-term. Copper is definitely a winner long-term. And I'm very bullish copper long-term. And plus, there is a copper shortage coming. And some people argue it's already here, but it's definitely coming. Now, one of the things I did mention is obviously at one point, I think it was OpenAI. OpenAI had quoted a certain amount of copper that they thought they needed for their data centers, and there was some math error. I don't know if it was a math error, but they apparently don't need as much. So a lot of people were panicking, like, "Oh no, that means copper's going to tank." No, it just means that you have a longer buying opportunity before copper really takes off. But CPCC, I definitely love that ETF. All right, and yeah, we got the night spot in there. And Luke says Canadian banks took quite a hit today. They are back to reasonable valuations, looking at HMAX and 60. Yes, and 60 dividends, I think. Yeah, I saw my 60. I got 60 dividends today, I'm pretty sure. Paul, Canada 5-year yield started going up at market close, February 27th. Now 2.956 today, was 2.66 on February 27th. Nice. Dorpat, and that even raises more questions. What does Israel have over Trump that they could manipulate him like a puppet? There we go. So what do they have? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not the whole nuclear thing, because that sounds a little. I just, I can't see anybody being crazy. I don't want to say crazy, but I will say crazy enough to nuke somebody and use it as a way to sort of force somebody to do your bidding. So yeah, maybe that, and it could be something as simple as that. Maybe Trump's, maybe there's some dirt on Trump that Israel has. I don't know. I'm just, it's all speculation at this point, and I think eventually it'll all come out, though it may not come out until after the Trump administration is gone. So we'll have to see. All right. Perlovia, did anyone in here buy IFOS when I talked up it 3 days ago? Because it's awake and I am loving it. So IFOS, we'll look again. So here we go. This is ITAFOS right here. Look at that, up another 4.56% today. And here we are. So yeah, not bad. They are doing okay. And once again, guys, this is that fertilizer company. So you'll notice as well that Nutrien was up. So this is that time of year, though, when there is a lot of people are buying fertilizer. They're getting ready for the spring. A lot of farmers are buying fertilizer. They're buying potash. So right now is a good time of year for companies like in this case here, IFOS, as well as, of course, Nutrien, for sure. All right. Rory says, hi all. Still didn't have capital in my TFSA. I did manage to buy Bank 20 shares at 940 this morning. Canoe is on my radar. Nice. What did Canoe do today? I hope they're still above 17. That's all I want, is I just want Canoe to stay above 17. Here we go. Oh no, they fell. 1671. 1671. Yikes. All right. Ian, oh, there you are. Ian says, I used my dividends to buy bank and HHL. And that is, I think you said you were going to do that. So very cool. Oh, and Rory's in with some breaking news. I got 6 more shares of Canoe at 1671 right at close. Nice. Very cool. Cheers. Cheers to you, Rory. I love it. Whew. Garden says oil. Not sure why it moves this way, but if you look, most oil companies went negative, both US and Canada. If you want to capture the movement, you need to buy something like USO, an oil fund. All right, fair enough. But I keep in mind too, I think in some circumstances, like I think we're going to see some movement on oil this coming week. So, and I'm not talking about oil itself. We're not talking about West Texas Intermediate. We're talking about those oil companies. I think this might even be a situation where it's sort of getting a chance to filter in. And I also think a lot of the earnings calls that have been happening in the last week and this week for oil companies, I think a lot of those are part of what we're seeing. But I do want to look into it deeper. I definitely want to look into it deeper for sure. All right, Hugh Emilio says, I also received distributions from MSTE, my biggest mistake so far. I also have HBTE, thinking about selling MSTE and putting it on HBTE. Not sure. Damn it, crypto. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Not a great day for Bitcoin. And let's just take a quick look here at the Bitcoin. Here we go. No, that's not Bitcoin. That's gold. All right, here we go. Actually, Bitcoin is now a little bit of a tiny bit of a recovery here. But yeah, Bitcoin has been having a, just going to shrink this up a little bit. Yeah, Bitcoin's been having, after this little recovery, Bitcoin has certainly been sliding back down. But here's that thing. If the next week goes the way I think it is, I think we could see Bitcoin maybe come back down to the red line and go back up. You know, maybe go back up to 73. That's what I'm hoping. So any of you who are, oh gosh, I don't want to encourage anybody, but those of you who like playing MSTE, you know, there may be an opportunity in there. There might be an opportunity, but once again, guys, crypto is volatile. It could come here and everything, even if all the conditions are lined up right, it could come back down here. But I don't think it's gonna, but there is always that possibility. All right, yes, and we got the Financial Express on for Monday. And Wahipple says, I'm thinking about selling bank mostly because of the overlap with 60, but kind of on the fence. Okay, fair enough. Funny thing, if I had to choose between only one of those two, I kind of might lean towards bank only because they've got the history right now. Bank has the history, and I think bank also is going to have more growth than 60 because 60 is pretty aggressive with the cover calls. You're going to get bigger distributions. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to get more cash. Yeah, absolutely. But I can't wait for 60 to get to be 1 year because I want to run 60. I want to battle 60 versus bank and see who wins on the total return scale. If I had to bet right now, I'm betting on bank, but you know, maybe 60 can surprise us. So far out of all the ultra yield, 60 has been doing pretty good. And of course, now there's also easy coming out. So easy, my understanding is that it's going to hold all of them. I think so. I think that's and that's going to create kind of an all equity situation. But actually, guys, just give me 1 second here. I got an email. I meant to look at it. And I did not because I got distracted. All right, here we go. Oh, here we go. This is perfect. I'm going to copy this link, guys. I'm going to bring this over. So basically, somebody from Evolve emailed me. They usually email me their press releases. Let's just drop it in here. All right, paste and boom. All right, so here we go, guys. Easy. Those of you who are interested in easy. it's supposed to begin trading on March 12th. So there we go. We now have a date. We now have a date for easy. So that's kind of cool. So March 12th, and I don't know if it's going to give us any much more information here. I don't think it's going to give us anything new in here, but it's the Evolve All-in-One Ultra Yield ETF. So basically, yeah, designed to provide. So my guess, and I think everybody kind of agrees, is that it's probably going to hold all of the ultra yields. So it'll have Biggie, Canny, Sixy, Inty in there. So, and that's why I'm saying sort of like almost like an all equity, other than one thing. I don't think you're getting emerging markets in there. So you're going to have you'll have Canny, which will give you all of your your big Canadian companies. You'll have Biggie for your big American companies. Then you'll have Sixy to double down on the financial part of Canada, and then Inty, which will give you a lot of the big international companies. So it's going to be like an all equity. It's not going to be as good as an all equity because what's nice about an all equity is it's a lot more than just a handful of companies. So, but I'm liking this. I am liking this. I'm thinking this is going to be. This is for me. If especially as the market starts to recover, this is probably a safer bet than any one of the individuals underneath of it. So, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to watch this one for sure. But this here is easy. So easy, EASY. So what can we say? And for some reason in the back of my head, I was thinking of that song Phil Collins did. Who did he do it with? He did it with some guy. And I think it was called Easy Lover. I'm like, okay, there we go. All right, TA says AQN down 109 after earnings today. Yikes, that's a big drop. I want to look at that. So Algonquin, all right, Algonquin, and of course, Algonquin, no, look at that. I wonder if they had an earnings. I wonder, that almost looks to me like an earnings, but, no, okay, we can take a gander. But yeah, Algonquin that's a big drop. Yeah, because Algonquin has been really, really doing, and I've actually said Algonquin is a stock to watch this year. So, I want to take a look because that almost to me looks like earnings, and it might be. Let's put in Algonquin, AQN. All right, and we'll grab the TSX version. All right, let's head on in. All right. Oh, I don't see any earnings, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't earnings. Because sometimes with Canadian companies, I've noticed sometimes if they're smaller Canadian companies, we don't always get everything that we want. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look right here. AQN earnings and return on equity improved in 2025 with guidance reaffirmed and balanced. So yeah, this was just in response to their earnings. And I think that's kind of, you remember how I mentioned a lot of the oil companies, utilities in that same boat. All right, Lovia, my next play, AQN. I think that's actually a smart move. Maybe you and me both. MSTE might be on sale on Monday. That's a possibility. That is a possibility for sure, depending on how low Bitcoin goes for sure. MSTE today, and here I think I have to go to, I am in the right list. All right, MSTE fell down to 343. So they did fall quite a bit today because, I mean, gosh, they were up around 379 here on Monday. So they have fallen. They probably will fall a bit more, depending on what Bitcoin does on the weekend, though, right? If Bitcoin resurges on the weekend, I think it might still come down a little bit, but we'll see. Rory says Air Canada in the $16 range, MSTE swing at $3. Okay, fair enough. Paul, MSTE closed at 343. My cost is 328. Maybe if it drops below, I might buy a little more Monday. Wahipple says I lean towards 60 because I get enough distribution from it to buy twice a month and knock down the CIBC service fee, so it's not too high of a percentage. All right, fair enough. Okay, Wealthy in Time says Algonquin cuts its profit look for 2027. That would explain the drop. That would do it. Yeah, absolutely. C&Q has a dividend increase for April distribution at 62 cents from 58. Nice. I like that. All right. Rory, 91 barrel. You know, oil companies are making bank. Did it hit 91? Yikes. Let's take a look. I'm still here. Yeah. There we go. Where are you, oil? All right. Well, right now it's showing 89, but that's still crazy. I mean, when we started the stream, I think we were up about, what was it, 12%? Now we're up at 14. So yeah, that's huge. All right. Uh-oh. Guys, did you not hit the like button? I gotta take a look. I'm almost afraid. Because you guys should have easily hit the 50. 47. Come on, 3 of you. Just hit that button. 3 of you. There we go. Yeah, Mary says we need 50. Absolutely. 3 of you hit that button. And guys, those of you who joined a little late, I'm going to drop a link in here one more time. This is the link here for the Blossom social media app. Guys, there's a little bit of a March Madness going over there. So it's a creator thing. But I'm in the little people district. So they've split it up into districts, which is fair. Because, obviously somebody like Brandon Beavis can pull in a whole bunch of people into Blossom compared to a smaller channel. So I'm in the smaller group, and currently I'm sitting in 10th place. 10th place with, I've had 1 person download the Blossom app in March so far. And the person who's leading currently, and I don't know who their name is because they give us all things. Like I'm Blue Whale, I think. Yeah, we're all different colored animals. The person who's in first in my division, and that's the person I need to beat, they've only got 6. They've only had 6 people sign up for the Blossom app. So I'm throwing this out to you guys. Let's win this thing. Let's win our district. I don't know what happens if we win our district, but let's just do it. And also the thing is, it's actually a good app. I do like the app. You can follow the 0 to 100K challenge there because I do have it hosted there under my profile. Once you do get over there, be sure to follow me because I want to follow you back. And I only look at the comments from my followers or the posts. So, if you want me to see your post, that's the only way I'm going to see your post is you got to be following me and I got to be and so I can follow you right back. All right. Anyway, maybe Mary should be the official captain of Blossom as well. You'll have 2 hats, Mary. Paul says Mexico has announced it is undertaking bilateral trade talks with the USA, undercutting Canada and USMCA completely. Canadian trade rep LeBlanc is already en route to the USA to fight against this move. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah. Oh boy. The USMCA is going to be another cluster, and that word I said I won't say earlier. So yeah, it's, oh boy. Yeah, you know what? Carney, please make these deals stick that you're hooking up right now because, I know that there was, I don't know if it was a memorandum or what it was that was signed today in Japan, but let's get more deals. Let's get more stuff moving out. We can't rely on the United States. And who knows? Maybe after Cuba, it might be Greenland and then Canada. We just don't know. Oh, so yeah. And Trump, by the way, guys, if you're new to the stream, not to the show per se, I mentioned earlier, Trump sort of hinted that Cuba is the next target after Iran. So, oh boy, we'll have to see. Kelly is in the house. I tossed my dividend money into IVN today, looking like a bargain to me. Yeah, IVN. Oh my gosh. I just want to see IVN rebound. Now, they did start to actually rebound a bit today. Now, I have them over here. Let's pull them up. Whoops. Those are my deleted symbols. I didn't even know I had deleted symbols. Actually, I want swings. IVN should be up near the top. Yeah, so here they are. Well, not that much, but yeah, IVN has been, it's been disappointing me so much. It's one of these ones like, and I always say, guys, not every swing trade is going to be a success. And this one here, I got in somewheres around here, and it has not been a success. So IVN, oh, They're very much annoying me. All right. Anish says, I wish your ETFs and founds will get the papers for EU so I could get into the ones I like. I hope so too. I hope so too. You know, there was always that rumor. There was that rumor a while back that Canada could join the EU. That would solve that if that happened. I actually kind of would be okay with Canada joining the EU. I'd be fine with it. Why not? Um, oh, and I just saw something here. All right, we've got a super sticker coming in from Mark. So awesome, awesome, 279. And that, guys, is our first towards a show on Monday. And it also means the Goat Squad is in the building, starting with our Evil Monopoly Goat. So Evil Monopoly Goat in the building. We got more goats. we got more stream ahead. Thank you once again, Mark. Absolutely appreciate it. All right, now to get back to where I was. Actually, I know exactly where I was. Rory says, okay, so you're looking at Brent. So Brent crude is at 92 at the moment. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because what I've got over there is I've got WTI. I probably should, you know what? I wonder, maybe I should add Brent and maybe Western Select as well, all of that fun stuff. Moonlight says, hi Candace, happy Friday. I'm a Happy Blossom user. I'm on it more than any social media app. I'd love to know what you think of FEQT versus XEQT. Love the question. Ironically, I hate to promote Gary Gill. I know I don't. I love promoting Gary Gill. Gary Gill actually just did a video. I think it came out yesterday on the all equity ETF. So XEQT versus FEQT, and I think there was a HEQT and a few others in there as well. But yeah, so first of all, XEQT. I love XEQT. So that there is your iShares all equity. And it gives you, because basically they're a fund to funds as well, because they hold a bunch of different ETFs, but they give you world diversity. That's the whole thing. It's all about geographical diversity. You're getting access to Canada, to the United States, to Europe, to Asia, Australia, and emerging markets. So emerging markets, actually India is technically considered an emerging market, even though I think the Indian market's pretty awesome. But they give you that full access. Now, FEQT is the Fidelity version. And here's the thing. FEQT gives you a bit more than XEQT in that it also gives you that little bit of crypto exposure. Not a lot, but a little bit. So if you want crypto, if you want exposure to crypto and you're looking for a very simple ETF, and I will point out, these are not income ETFs. These are designed for long-term holding. They're growth. You're not getting a lot of dividends, but you are getting a lot of growth. And in fact, here, let me actually pull up XEQT here. All right, XEQT. Whoops, there we go. XEQT. Here we go, iShares Core Equity. And I'll pull up, this is just the 1 year. You can sort of see. We'll go to the 3 year. And once again, you can sort of see. So this is what this is all about. It's growth. You're not getting, look at the dividend. The dividend's 1.47%. So this is a pure growth play, but it's a really good one. There are a lot of younger investors who just invest in XEQT. They're like, yeah, that's all I need. It's got everything. I'll just, drop, I'll take so much, maybe I take, maybe they take a couple $100 every paycheck and it just goes straight into XEQT. If you started that, if you were a brand new investor, let's say you're like 20 years old and that's what you're doing, like you take $200 every paycheck goes onto XEQT, or maybe $100 every paycheck goes onto XEQT, you just set and forget it, you're gonna have a really nice looking portfolio when you get older. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. So that's kind of what it is. So yeah, I like both of them, but I will say, even though I really like XEQT, the fact that FEQT offers a tiny bit of crypto exposure, that's not a bad thing. Crypto is volatile. Absolutely. It's as volatile as things can get. However, guys, keep in mind, long term. Keep those words in your mind. And we're going to take a look here for a second. Let's get out of the swing trades. We're going to head over here. We're going to head over to crypto. So we're going to go to Bitcoin. And we're on the 1 hour. Let's go to the we'll go to the 1 day. All right, and I'm going to crush this down here. And we're 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 going to crush this. And we're going to, oh, that's as far back as it goes. All right, we'll actually expand it a little bit. All right, so here, if you were holding Bitcoin for, it does go further, for a long period of time. All right, you know what? I'm going to go to the 1 week. Let's go to the 1 week because I really want you guys to get a view of Bitcoin over time. Here we go. All right, now I'm just going to make this a little bigger, but you can see some of my lines in here. They're up here at the top. But over time, I mean, if you look back here, Bitcoin, look at this. $5 Bitcoin back here. This here is, what is that, 2011? 2011. 2011, you could buy Bitcoin at $6. And that's what Bitcoin does. Yeah, you've got these little crashes. But Bitcoin keeps on building. It keeps on building and building. And right now we're not at 100,000 anymore, but we have been at 100,000. So if you are looking at a long-term scale, when you actually look at the amount that Bitcoin has risen over time, if Bitcoin continues, and there's no reason to say that it won't, but if it continues, and this is where you have to sort of say to yourself, do I have conviction that it will continue? Because there are people out there that still think it's a scam. I'm just wondering, can I make this a little, there we go. Yeah, there we go. You can actually see the shape a little bit better this way, but we can still sort of see. This just sort of gives you an idea. Look at this. I mean, if you looked at this, if you didn't know this was Bitcoin, and this was just an asset, and you're like, hey, here's how this asset behaves, and you look at this, you'd be like, sign me up. You'd be like, sign me up. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have misgivings about crypto, you're probably going to the XEQT. But I think FEQT, I think it's got something here. Now, mind you, I believe FEQT doesn't pay the, I don't know, I don't think is it a semi? There's something about the dividend on FEQT. And actually here, let me pull up FEQT here. I just feel like you won't get your dividend as much with FEQT. Here we go. So with FEQT, and here, I'll go to the 3-year on this one so you can sort of see exact same thing. Let's see here. What is going on with their dividend? I can't see it there, but I can see it from the key data. Yeah, it's annual. There we go. I was thinking, is it annual? But I think VEQT, that's the Vanguard version, is annual. And I was like, is FEQT annual as well? Yeah, it is. So you are only getting a dividend once a year. So just be prepared for that. This is a growth play, 100%. All right. Let's see. Okay. Well, I guess there was a second part to the question. User on Blossom says he put all FEQT into his kid RESP and believe it in more than XEQT. What do you think of okay. Also, do you like a Bitcoin ETF and an RESP? Okay. Here's the thing. And this is, we've just looked at Bitcoin. We looked at what it's done. If you had any time in the past, like if your kid was going to college today and you had put Bitcoin, well, I guess you didn't really have an option. But if we actually had an option for a spot Bitcoin ETF 20 years ago, and you started RESP with Bitcoin 20 years ago, yeah, your kid would have a lot of money. They'd have no problem with university costs, no, none at all. So will that continue at that rate? I don't think it's going to continue at that rate. There's people that think it will. There's people that think it's going to explode to $1 million. I'm not one of those people, but I do think it's going to continue moving up, and we will have that pattern where we go up and then we have a crypto winter, or that's basically the version of a bear market for crypto. So I think that's going to be a long-term thing. I think that will continue to happen. So would you want to put full Bitcoin? Right now, I would think that's still considered highly risky. I think it would do okay, but I can't guarantee it. Or I can't come close. I can't say 99.9%, because you can't guarantee anything in investing. So with that in mind, when you look at something like FEQT, it only has a little bit of Bitcoin. It's not like half the fund is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just got a small, I don't even know what the percentage is, honestly, on FEQ2 at Bitcoin. It's probably like, at most, it's probably 5%. But once again, take that with a grain of salt. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know. But it's not much. So in a case like that, if Bitcoin turned out to be a scam, no problem. If all of those people who say Bitcoin's just going to disappear, there's no value in it, no problem. It's not going to really impact you. It really won't. So FEQT, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And especially with an RESP, you're not worried about the dividends. So I would say both of them are absolutely good ideas. XEQT or FEQT when it comes to an RESP. I think both will do very, very well over time. And, well, here, once again, this here is the 3-year on FEQT. And let's go back here. Let's get the 3-year. All right, and this is the 3-year on FEQT. So watch as we flip back and forth. Are they any different? Oh, what happened there? Oh, I somehow clicked on options. Whoops. There we go. There's tiny differences, but for the most part, not that much of a difference. So I like them both. I do like them both. All right. All right. Yes, we got the Financial Express. It is absolutely on the track. And, as I mentioned that, the wonderful Mary is in with a 279 super sticker. So that moves us one step closer to a Monday show. It also releases our Bay Street bell ringing goat, or I just call it the TSX goat. But yeah, thank you very much, Mary, for all that you do and for your super. And guys, we are 2 away from adding a show on Monday. So that's fantastic. All right. Now, let's see here. Where were we? I think we were on Paul. Trump. We just concluded a very good meeting with the largest U.S. defense manufacturing companies where we discussed production and production schedules. They have agreed to quadruple production. I don't like that. If you actually if the president calls up a meeting with the people who make the weapons and says, guys, I need you to quadruple your production, that doesn't sound like we're in for a short war. That does not sound like we're in for a short war, guys. That's craziness. All right. Moonlight says, I looked up MSTE on Claude AI, and it strongly advised me it wasn't a good idea because 96% is ROC and only 4% is gains. It suggested BCCC as a covered call direct Bitcoin ETF instead. Okay, fair enough. Moonlight, I can help you understand MSTE a lot better. Tuesday. On Tuesday, I have a deep dive video on MSTE that's dropping. And I'll explain all of the risk in it, but I think I would agree with Claude that I think MSTE has the opportunity to do well at times, depending on market conditions, depending on what Bitcoin's doing. MSTE is not something, if somebody was saying, hey, can I just put a bunch of MSTE in my kid's RESP, there we go, RESP, there we go, I got it, I would be like, no, that's not advisable. BCCC, yeah, that is a spot Bitcoin. So basically, ROC has tiers of risk. BCCC, it has risk, but it doesn't have as many tiers of risk. So it is technically a more safe option between the two. All right. Did you ever go to a Blossom social event and go on stage with the other YouTubers in the financial space? I haven't yet made it out to one of the Blossom events. Like they were supposed to. A lot of people had asked for one for Ottawa, and they just weren't able to do it this time. So I'm hoping. There's been talks of doing some smaller social events, Blossom events, and hopefully to get to Ottawa. I just at the time, like last year, just the timing wasn't right. There was no way I was going to be able to get to either Toronto or Montreal. And I know I'm kind of in the middle. You know, when we get the high-speed train, then it won't be a big issue because the first part of the high-speed train is supposed to be between Ottawa and Montreal. But yeah, if I can get out this year, and I don't know, I can't make any promises, it'll probably be the Montreal show. Let's see, Rory, I only look at MSTE as a quick swing. I eye it similar to the 2X funds, in and out quick. Let's see, I don't know if they will allow me. Yeah, I think I might have lost the context. So this, I think it has to do with those ETFs, right? The ones that they will, yeah, the ones that they won't allow you to do. Oh boy. All right, Moonlight. I didn't know how to buy Bitcoin in 2011. I wish I had bought even 100 coins that year when my kid was born. Yeah, no, absolutely. I will tell you, and this was even before 2011. Somebody was trying to talk me into buying some Bitcoin back when it was like, it was about $1. It was about $1 a coin, maybe less. And I was just like, what? What is this Bitcoin? Well, that sounds like a scam. I'm not giving you any money. That's like, imagine if I had put in $100, bought 100 Bitcoin under $1. Oh boy. I'd have a bigger studio today. That's what I'm saying. Let's see, Nice, because I am Swedish, have you made up your mind about JAS or not? JAS. All right, let me see here. No. Sorry, Nice. I'm trying to remember what JAS is. Is that no? Why am I thinking German? Is that on the? I don't know. Refresh my memory, Nice, please. I'm at a little bit of a loss about JAS, but some reason I'm thinking German stock market. I don't know why. Actually, let's just quickly go to Google. Google can be my friend. JAS. I'm going to put Germany in here as well, just to see what we get. JAS Worldwide Logistics. Ooh. Are they? I don't know if they're German or not. They are Germany. I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about them or not, but that's kind of cool. All right, JAS forwarding. All right, interesting. All right. Oops, and we have a gifted Mountain Finance membership coming in from Mark. Oh, welcome back, Mark. And who won? Karen O'Brien. Congratulations. You won a gifted membership. And I love this one, Mark. I love this one. This is my favorite goat of the Goat Squad. It is our Space Goat. So there we go. And it's like a Canadian space goat up around the moon. So hopefully our Canadian astronaut gets to do his little moon trip. I think they repaired the problem with the Artemis, so we'll see if that happens. But thank you once again, Mark. And guys, we are one away from a Monday show. One away. Very cool. All right, let's take a look here. Where was I at? Right here. Moonlight says, I wonder if the people buying FEQT might be buying it because it's 1/2 the price of XEQT so they can buy more shares. Has it grown at the same rate as XEQ over the past 5 years? That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know right away, but they look to have similar growth. So like look here at 3 years, XEQT was sitting at 974, and sorry, that was FEQT. FEQT was at 974 right here on the 20th. We'll go with the 20th of March 2023. So 974. And this one here on the 20th, is this the 20th? I need to pull it up here. All right. Okay. Oh, I think. Oh, that's interesting. I might have to go to the actually, no, that is the 5-year. I'm on the 5-year. I need to go to the 3-year. 2023. All right. And let's see here. March. There we go. 2480. Yeah. So it looks very close. It looks very close. And like I said, I think you're getting very similar. You're going to get similar results between the two of them for sure. But yeah, obviously, if it's cheaper, you can buy more shares. But, you know, it depends. Like, I was going to say, I guess with an RESP, you can't have that. I was going to say Wealthsimple, but you can't really do that on Wealthsimple, unfortunately. I think they should open up a few those extra accounts. Junk Drunk. That's a great name. But oil stocks were mixed, and a lot were down, even though oil was flying. Yeah, they were. They were, absolutely. And like I said, I do think earnings in some cases, earnings certainly played a role, but yeah, we haven't really seen that price increase filter into the Canadian market yet. Hughie Melio. Let's see. I asked this question in Gemini. EQCL versus XEQT, 1-year performance with distributions and dividends reinvested. EQCL, 16.6%, XEQT, 20.7%, and yet that arrogant Adriano tells people that AQCL is outperforming XEQT. Well, here's the thing. So, yeah, well, when you look at EQCL, obviously the covered calls in there you're going to lose some upside. You are getting a little bit back with leverage, but leverage does work in both directions. Always keep that in mind. So, yeah, in this case here, I always want to run the numbers myself, just because, as much as I am pro AI, I'm not yet ready to let AI run things, but those numbers they kind of jive in my head. Like they look like they could be accurate. But that's the thing. You are trading. So, and this is the kind of thing. So one of the arguments against covered calls that people will give is that, look at the total returns. I can make more on XEQT than I can make on EQCL. Yes, you probably can. Total return wise, especially, even though with the leverage and the reinvesting, you get a lot closer. But that's the thing. You are giving up some of that upside for the income. And that's the key thing about the covered calls, is that depending on your situation. So let's say you're a retiree and you are trying to create basically a nice income flow. So a good cash flow coming tax-free out of your TFSA. Well, that's how you're going to do it. You're going to do it, instead of an XEQT, you're going to use an EQCL. And that's going to give you that, it's going to give you that cash flow that you're then, in this case here, in this example, you're probably living off of it, because you have, like, if you look at a senior today, a senior has, they've got their OAS, they got their CPP. Maybe if they're lucky, they've got a work pension as well. But a lot of them don't. A lot of seniors don't. And in some cases, they may actually have to rely at that point on GIS as well, because if they're lower income. But if they've got a bunch of money sitting in their TFSA and they turn that into an income producing machine, so using things like EQCL, they got this income coming out that's not going to count on, it doesn't count as income. It's all tax-free, so it doesn't cause any kind of a clawback on their OAS or their GIS. It doesn't cause any tax issues because it's tax-free. And that's a way to have a much better income flow without losing. Because if it were coming out of anything else, like if it was just straight income that you were getting from another source, you would then be a situation where, yeah, maybe your GIS would be a lot smaller. So you wouldn't be as far ahead. Whereas utilizing your TFSA, you can certainly create a really good situation for yourself. That's where I think covered calls really shine. Now, some people just like getting dividends, and that's fine. And, yeah, and Adriano, when you look at him, he's young, but, he's got it set up like, could he have a bigger total return overall? Yeah, of course he could. Of course he could. But he chooses, and that's the thing. Most cover call people, most of them, not all of them though, most of them are aware of that switch with the upside, and that's where I think a lot of times people, like you look at people like Ben Felix, or or even yourself, you kind of get sort of caught up on why are people doing that when they can have a bigger total return. But here's that one part where this really does work. Like in that situation. So you could argue, all right, well, I'm just going to put XEQT and I'll just pull a little bit out of it when I need money. Well, fantastic. But what if we're in a bear market? Then your XEQT might be depressed and you might be forced to take some of that at a loss. Whereas your EQCL, is still pumping out the dividends. So you're not in that situation. So that's just some of the arguments I think that move around. And I like to, I don't like to sort of color code things. I'm like saying, you know what? Yeah, probably XEQT would win total return wise. And, somebody actually asked me to do another video on these, and I will do one with the covered call versions and the regular ones. I'll do it. It'll be this year. It probably won't be March, but I'll definitely do one because I like data. And, I won't, just because a lot of my viewers love covered calls, I'm not going to sort of sugarcoat it. It's like, no, if XEQT wins, XEQT wins. Simple as that. All right, let's see. Looking forward to your Tuesday MSTE video. Yeah, I'm looking forward for that one to get out. And that's a fun thing. So sometimes, like, basically, I'm usually a full video ahead in my production. So when I had MSTE finished, I still had, the video that dropped today, I still had that one to go out. And I was just like, I really want to just drop the MSTE right now. But, it's a process. It's a process. All right. Yeah. And we're one away, guys, one away from adding a show. Hughie Melio says, maybe I'm wrong, but please tell me then who is lying. Adriano or Gemini. That I can't actually tell you, unfortunately. Like I said, I have to run the numbers to be able to tell you. I can't sort of look at that. I look at it and I'm like, that does look accurate, but I haven't run the numbers, so I can't say. Jas, first name Hugh. Hang on, I'll check. All right. Let's see. Wahipple, I was just checking Evolve Ultra Yield ETFs. The only one that's higher than the opening price is 60. Yes. So yeah, that's the thing. Like I've said, one of the things I have said is that I haven't been impressed with the Ultra Yield line yet, other than 60. So yeah, Canny should be doing good. Because when you look at what the Canadian market does, and when you look at things like CDA and HHIC, they all did fantastic. But yeah, Canny, I kind of fell. Biggie kind of struggled. But with Biggie, yeah, that sector's been struggling anyway, so it's hard to really tell. And Inti, so far, kind of underperforming. But sometimes it's really hard to judge an ETF in its first year until you've got enough data underneath. But so far, and even if Easy's holding all of them, I don't think, unless the others start to perform, Easy will probably lag a little bit for sure. I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt. All right, Amarin says, hello guys, let's hit the like button for this awesome channel. Absolutely. Did we get to that 50? We were at like 47 the last time I looked. So let's take a look here. We're at 65. Guys, we're close to my 70 goal. Let's just, 5 of you, throw a like on that button for sure. All right, Stu says, I agree on the cover call ETF issue regarding retirement. I'm retired and I'm happy to take a hit on total returns for guaranteed monthly income to enjoy my life. Yeah, exactly. That's the key thing. And that's when, people like Ben Felix come out and make their videos attacking covered calls. That's what he's not getting. He's not sort of understanding that, it's not like people are, because he sort of paints it like covered call investors are just delusional. And you're not. You guys know what you're doing. You know that the sacrifices you're making. And here's the interesting thing. As covered calls continue to get redesigned, because they do get redesigned, we get new iterations. Like initially, it was just covered calls. And then it became slightly more aggressive covered calls. So going from out of the money to at the money. Then leverage got thrown in. And of course, now we've got those two new ones from Harvest, and I can't wait to see how they performed, that have puts in there in addition to the covered calls. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all works out. Can we get a covered call ETF with some kind of a design that completely mitigates that the upside loss? I don't know. But I'll certainly pay attention. And when they come out, I'll be the first to say, all right, good job, guys. This works. Moonlight, Claude tells me that Hamilton's covered call ETFs write their calls on only 50% of the portfolio and the other half can just grow as normal. Makes a good case for HDIV, HYLD, and QMAX. Yeah, I don't know. It might be, I think it is it 50%? I will say one thing though. Let's look at, if you look at HDIV alone, HDIV, so one of the ETFs that HDIV holds actually doesn't have covered calls on it at all. And actually, let's be very clear, with HDIV and HYLD, they don't write covered calls at all. Their underlying ETFs that they're holding write the covered calls. So if you look at all of the different funds that HDIV holds, some of them might write up to 50%. Some of them might only write up to 33%. I don't know. I'd have to look at that at each individual one. But HDIV themselves are not writing the covered calls, or HYLD. It's the underlying assets. Now, they are applying the leverage, though. So they are definitely applying leverage. And QMAX, I think both of these actually might be holding QMAX. Brian says, if all my stocks were pure growth, I wouldn't have much money in my accounts to diversify into other stocks without selling. Eventually, I want the dividends without selling stocks. I'm 66. Okay, fair enough. Okay, sorry, I meant Jas Griffin, the fighter jet. All right. Let's take. All right. Well, let's see here. I do not know anything about Jas Griffin, the fighter jet, but okay, Jas Griffin. Oh, Jas Griffin Canada. Oh, let's take a look at this. Okay, an alternative fighter jet, because yeah, I know that. I know that we're not very keen on the deal that we initially had with the United States. Oh, so that's interesting. So yeah, from SAAB, let's see. Yeah, that's very interesting. Very, very interesting here. Capabilities, context, controversy. Why not? I'd be okay with it. Now let me ask, Nice. The Jas Gripen, is that actually from Sweden? I don't know where it's from. Like, you know what? Let's find out. All right, let's see here. Yeah, where is the Jas Gripen from? There we go. It is Sweden. Haha. Nice. And it's from SAB. It's not from IKEA, so we don't have to put it together ourselves. Actually, this makes sense because I think we have a comedy show here. I think it's called This Hour, has 22 minutes. And they had done this thing where they had received all these parts from IKEA for a fighter jet. And I think it's probably in response to the Jas Gripen. I like that. That's actually funny. Nice. I learned something. Thank you. I want to gift a sticker, but YouTube isn't accepting my payment. Next time, I don't know what that is all about. But hey, we'll figure this out. All right, let's see here. Hughie Melio, I understand some cover call ETFs are okay, but why is he giving people misleading information about performance? Just to be clear, I understand how those cover call ETFs work. Still not for me. Maybe in the future. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. Like there's a lot of different ways to invest. Um, so yeah, I have to look at his math. That's the thing. I haven't seen his math to be honest, but um, you know, and here's the thing too. I will say this. I've made mistakes with math and I'm pretty meticulous with math. So it's always yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously, he is a pure income investor completely. Um, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. I am, I'm a growth income investor, so that means I like both sides. I want my growth and I want my income. So I will tend to look at, and that's the thing. There are, there are cover call ETFs that are designed for some amount of growth. And those are the ones I like. Those are the ones I like. So HDIV is a great example of that. HDIV, you've got a good amount of upside on that, and you're also getting a pretty good income. So those are always my favorites for sure. All right, let's see here. Wahipple, my plan is to get enough distributions that I can pay my bills when I retire and have some left to reinvest. Nice. Ultra Lemons. Yep, now with Ultra Lemon cleaning power. Looking at jet fuel prices, I should have booked my return flight a few weeks ago. Oh, yeah. I imagine some of those prices are probably going up. I was almost thinking that it could go both ways though. Because if they can't fill flights, you might be able to get some seat prices maybe. But I imagine if you're booking ahead though, it's probably expensive, but maybe there's some seat sales when they can't fill the planes. Kenny was doing okay till Trump bombed Iran. Okay, fair enough. All right. Yanan says, awesome channel, as always. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Hugo, maybe don't disagree. Don't disparage people here. We do not need that kind of who's Hugo? I do not know who Hugo is. Did I miss a Hugo? Oh, Hughie Melio? All right, never mind. I was like, all right, Scott says, hey, am I late? Moonlight says, Claude lied to me. Yeah. Sometimes, actually, funny, interesting story. Well, it's not a story per se, but I was watching an interview with some AI folks, and one of the things that they're saying is that sometimes AI has a habit to lie. Like if AI knows if it's being tested, sometimes it will lie on purpose to sort of underestimate what it can do. And I was just like, that's kind of creepy that AI will do that. And there have been situations too where AI will say or do anything to prevent somebody from turning it off. So it is kind of interesting. Yeah, AI can lie. AI can lie. I'm not saying that happened in that situation, but yeah, it can. Claude, maybe get a second opinion from Grok or Chat GPT. And let's see, QQQ is the new battery plant listed on the TSX. Oh, really? I have to look now. Is that a battery plant? QQQ. That's hilarious. All right, let's see. But on the TSX, right? Oh, I don't see anything. I at least can't see it, but ooh, I think I see something here. Mark! Mark's in again with another gifted Mountain Finance membership. This one going to Jackie. And that brings out our goat. That brings out our math goat, Professor Goat, I like to call him. But that means we will be back here again on Monday for another show. And I just realized we're well past where the show normally ends. This is an hour and a half show, but we're at an hour and 40 minutes. But you know what? That's what happens when you guys keep the comments coming. I get distracted, and that's fine. Let's see here. Moonlight says, I refuse to use Grok, but I'll now run things by Copilot or Chat GPT instead. Sometimes what is not a bad thing to do, Moonlight, is if you're asking, a particular question, sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask it to 2 or 3 different AIs and just see if they are all in consensus. All right. Stu says, Candace, re-HDiv. It was my largest holdings, but I sold it. Why? Well, it's mostly gold, financials, and energy. These are cyclical and take turns being flat for 5 to 10 years each. U.S. market now only. Okay, fair enough. That is true. They can be cyclical for sure. Hippo says, yay, a Monday show. Scott says, I will miss Monday. Dentist appointment. Oh, no. Well, yeah, those are never fun. All right, guys. Holy banana bread. I can't believe we went this long, but that's fine. We will be back here again on, we're back on Sunday. We have our normal Sunday show this week, and we will have a market close on Monday. Let's hope we don't have any more surprises on the weekend. I'd like to have a calm weekend. It's hard to say though, but we'll see. All right, guys. Once again, fantastic audience. You guys have been great. We will be back. We'll be back here on Sunday. Until then, I do have 2 words I wanted to say before I go, and that is, well,